No, I don't get it. Oh, hello. Welcome once again to the Library of Horror Hotel, all my fellow creeps. It's time once again for, you guessed it, Creepy Cheapies, where we talk about the best in rubber monster masks. Yeah, now something a little different today, not drastically different, not completely different, just a little different because I wanted to bring something to your attention today. That is, not you, but you, and you for sure wanted to bring it to your attention. Some masks that I encountered that are a little different, a little off the well-trodden path, a little unusual, a little outside the mainstream. And the different thing here is, well, there are a couple of them, including a couple of warnings I have to give you. One of which is the price. But before we get to that, I'll get back to that in a minute. But first, let me mention that these are not made by a major manufacturer with a big production plant. These are made by an artist with a small studio, I believe, and I think the guy does all this work himself. A human called Cesar Alonso. Alonso. And his masks are part of a line called Collectible Creatures. And I believe he did at one time have a website called collectiblecreatures.com, but there was some sort of technical issue and the website is down for maintenance or down for the count or some such. Anyway, my best advice is that if you like these masks, look for them on Etsy, because I know he has an Etsy store called Collectible Creatures. So you look them up there. But what's exceptional about them is, and I thought they looked pretty good in the pictures. I thought, yeah, those look like cool masks. But when I saw them in person, oh my badness, you know? They're so beautiful in person. I mean, go hang a salami, I'm a lasagna hog. They're just amazing. And might be appropriate if you are into Halloween masks or you need masks to use at your event. And you don't want masks that everybody might have seen at the seasonal Halloween store or in the Halloween aisle at their local Malwart or Target or Vincent's Drugs. Maybe you want something odd and different. Okay, these things look so real in person. I was just very impressed with, well, the anatomy of the sculpture and the detailing and the painstaking care given to the paint. Now let's just start with one here. And one of the things that's different from our usual Creepy Cheapy guidelines on this one is that most of these masks are just front halves with, I hope you can see that, there's an elastic strap on there. Most of these masks are just the face masks, which means you'd need to put either a hood or a wig or something. This is just called Witch. It's not a particular character, it's just this artist's interpretation of a classic, standard, traditional Halloween witch. And I don't know if its true beauty is going to show up on your monitor, but this thing looks so real in person because of the way it's painted and sculpted. It almost looks like it's going to blink, which would be weird because nobody's wearing it, so it doesn't have eyes, but it does have sculpted eyelids, so those could blink, right? It looks like it's going to start talking or breathing or cackling. And what you would want to do with it if you had one of these, and I just happen to have a wig here in the desk drawer because that's where everybody keeps wigs. This is not the ideal wig, okay, because it has some of that mesh, some of that netting on there. So this is not the ideal wig. You would probably get even a cheaper wig, like just at any costume store, or just order online a plain gray witch wig. But this is just something I wanted to have handy here to stick on there to show you roughly what it looks like when you have a wig on her. Look at that. That thing's amazing. And again, the face looks so real and has so much character. And one thing I love about it, even though, yeah, I know it's just another witch mask with a nose and a chin like every witch mask, this one is kind of special. She has her own unique personality. And one thing I love about it is that you could get different personality aspects of it coming to the fore based on how you tailor your performance when you wear it. She could be an extremely evil and menacing and sadistic and cruel and nasty, scary witch, or depending on how you're acting when you're wearing it, or whoever's wearing it, depending on how he or she is acting, could be more of a, you know, welcoming, sort of friendly, harmless old witch. So it depends on your performance, but she's got just the right expression to work either way, and really looks a lot more lifelike than most of the masks that you see. Now another one that's part of the Collectible Creatures line, it's only a front half face mask with an elastic strap on the back, which I think you can see right there. Let's snap it so that you know. See, it's not a special effect. See, could I do that? No. Look at that. This is a little less generic of a character. This fish-looking guy is called a Deep One, inspired by the writings of the great H.P. Lovecraft. So if you're familiar with Shadow over Innsmouth, Dagon, any of that stuff, this guy sort of has that look. Now I believe these are available with a couple of different color schemes. The one I have here is a nice wet, sort of oily, moist looking green. He has little teeny pin teeth in there that are cool, and I don't know if you can tell, but the eyes have little bits of mesh glued into where the pupils are cut out so that nobody will be able to see your eyes when you wear it. It's that stuff like they use in the ghost face masks for Scream. It's got that stuff in there. Ideally, I guess a shiny plastic bubble would be in a perfect world what you'd want on there, but I'm not sure where you get one that would exactly fit. So pretty deluxe that it has that, I think. Another great one. This is another scary thing. This one is just called a sadist. Just a sadist, because he's enjoying whoever it is he's hurting and tormenting and torturing. He's having fun doing that. Look at how real this thing looks. All right, in person, it really looks like there's actual musculature underneath there, drawing the muscles of the face and the contours of everything into these patterns. So it's looks very convincing in person. I don't know how much that is going to show up through the world of video here, but once again, just the front half with an elastic strap in the back. I don't know what you wear with this one. He's got these sort of blood red eyes, kind of like blood-filled orbs for eyeballs. I'm not sure what you'd wear with this. You could go with the hooded robe, you could go with an executioner's outfit, you could go with something more strange and weird that you made up. Anyway, very realistic looking and very dramatic, and not quite like any other mask that you've seen. This is the only one that has a little bit of a kind of creepypasta vibe going on. All right, let's keep making room here. This one, a little different here. This one happens to be, throw you a curve, it's a full head, although smallish. It is a full head as far as covers the back of your head, so you don't need a wig, but you still might want to put it with a robe, with either a hood or a big high stand-up weird collar. This is just an alien, and I know there have been 100 masks that look like the traditional idea of what an alien looks like, okay? Just a UFO, just a gray, and I think he maybe makes these in more than one color as well. This one, I don't know if you can tell, it's not exactly gray, it's sort of gray with a hint of plum in it, like a drop of purple and a drop of brown in the gray. Anyway, it's a very believable and organic and realistic looking color. And does this guy even have eye cuts? Let me see if he does. Does he have eye holes? Yes, he does, but they're small. They're towards the where his tear ducts would be if he was a human. They're sort of, can you see my fingers right there? You see that? That's where the eye cuts are. And the eyes are just painted shiny. But like the others, he's got a wonderful paint scheme and a very unusually natural look. There's something very believable about this guy's sculptures. You know what I'm saying? And finally, one more here. But wait, there's more. This one, no, caveat, this one is going to look like it's unfinished because it's unfinished. So it does have the strap at the back. Let's snap. See, that's how you know. It's got the strap at the back. This is a werewolf who is part of the Collectible Creatures line by Cesar Alonso. And like the others, it's amazingly fleshy looking. It has a very natural, very believable look in person. I hope you can see that looking at it from your end, or from your eyes even. Look at that. Now obviously this is not a complete werewolf, but I think this is the way he sells them. I don't recall seeing one that was fully haired. Obviously Laura's my wife who puts hair on masks, by the way, if you don't know that. Laura wants to make a full head out of one of these by putting, I'm not sure if she's going to make an acrylic fur back half for him and, you know, fasten it on there and then maybe blend the edges in by adding some hair along the line where the join would be, or if she's going to put a wig in the back. But in any case, he would definitely, if you're going to wear him as a werewolf, you don't want him to look like a shaved werewolf, so you want him to have some sort of hair, so you need to do something about that. But I still want to bring him to your attention. For those of you who are do-it-yourselfers or boo-it-yourselfers who might like to undertake the challenge of hairing your own werewolf mask, or if you think you can figure out a way to make a back half either out of sheet fur or a carefully placed and attached wig and that sort of thing. This guy is very realistic looking, and like the others, it's sort of kind of a generic version of what this type of monster looks like, but very classy and very almost elegant in its forms and shapes here. Beautiful sculptures, one and all. Now, I told you a few minutes ago there was one thing I had to warn you about regarding the price, and I may be violating the unofficial creepy cheapy bylaw here of keeping things in the neighborhood of $100, because these may cost more than that. The trouble is, these are made in Spain. Most of the masks on Creepy Cheapies are generally made either in Mexico or China, or once every 5 years or so made in the United States. These come from Spain, and the price, and I have looked a bunch of times on the Etsy store, Collectible Creatures. I have looked, and the price goes up and down like crazy because of the constantly fluctuating exchange rate between United States dollars and euros. So if you're paying for these with euros, it's much easier to tell. And I just realized I could make a pretty good joke there about why would he want paid in sandwiches, except I'm afraid you probably wouldn't get it because you probably think the sandwich is pronounced gyro. So I won't go there. But I will tell you, if you're looking for something a little out of the ordinary, a little unusual, that may sell from anywhere from $90 to, I've seen them at like $114, odd sort of prices like that, and odd numbers like $113. I don't know what these will be selling for by the time you see this and get on there and look for them, but I highly recommend the quality as far as very nice, thick, sturdy castings that stand up very well, and super loving paint jobs that really have a realistic look. So just something I wanted to bring to your attention. A little different, not one of the mass-produced lines of masks, but pretty cool nonetheless. And I don't know, the Witch and the Sadist might be, well, no, maybe he's my favorite. Well, okay, they're all kind of my favorites, but aren't they cool? Check them out, Collectible Creatures, Cesar Alonso in Spain. Try to pick one up because the rain in Spain falls mainly on your brain, as they say. And until next time, don't forget, in the words of the late great philosopher Norton Vanderklaken. Goodbye.